In all states or situations.
Nestled in Cache Valley, Connect Transit is bringing people together one ride at a time. Here comes Caroline, ready to crush that big meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Diego, off to see his nieces and nephews. George is in his jersey. Must be game time.
Woo!
Go Aggies. Wherever you need to go, we're going your way. Connect Transit. Visit rideconnectutah.gov to find your ride today.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning. And it looks like it's only going to get better as we head into this next week. We'll Feel Right along with Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden for the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. And Mark, today's planting day at our house. So for those who have not got their gardens in yet, now's the time.
I'm so excited for the weather. It's just like we've been waiting. It's believe it or not, it's been a really cold, wet spring. Mm-hmm. Like cold and wet. And most people haven't been able to plant stuff. And so I've got like my cold crops in. My potatoes are all coming up. My carrots and beets are all coming up. And that's about it. My peas. The deer ate my peas the other day, though. Like, because we had to take the fence down. And so before we get the new fence up, of course, they get in there and nibble on my peas. That's like not very nice.
The problem is they're advertising. It gets the word out.
They just know. So corn's going in this weekend. Beans are going in this weekend. I got my weed barrier down for all my tomatoes and peppers the other day. So I'm excited about that. It's been warming the soil up. So that's been out for like a week now, warming the soil up so that when I put those tomatoes and peppers in, they just take off. Yeah, they just take off like crazy. So super excited to do some planting. And then all my squashes, melons, cucumbers, pumpkins are ready to go. My giant pumpkins are already 4 feet long.
Wow.
So they're already 4 feet.
That's huge.
My friend in Wyoming, I called and talked to him yesterday, and his are 13 and a half feet long already, he said. But he has a greenhouse, so he cheats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's cheating. But in Wyoming, that's not cheating because
I was going to say with the weather
every week something would kill his plants if it weren't outside. If it were outside and not in the greenhouse, something would kill his plants every week.
Now, this year, are you still using the Bigfoot?
Bigfoot. So we're using Bigfoot, and I'm using the green aminos from Green Grow. So that's new. So that's like a green protein shake for plants is the best way to describe it. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then I've got some new fertilizers that have some like soy proteins and other like nutrition for all the microbes and microorganisms that are in the Bigfoot. And so I'm super excited to see what happens. So my plants look sensational right now, but they need to get in the garden. And then I've given my fence up so that the deer don't eat my pumpkins too.
Yeah.
Stupid pumpkin.
I'm afraid
stupid deer.
We'd be hearing you scream from all over the valley
I know.
if they got it to your pumpkins.
If I put those out and then the deer like damage them, there would be hell to pay. We'll put it that way. Yeah, there would be big trouble. But it is Memorial Day weekend, and so we've got some great things going on at Anderson's. Don't forget, we are open on Monday. So Monday we're open from 8 to 1.
Okay.
So limited hours on Monday. So if you want to get some stuff on Monday, do some planting on the holiday, we'll be open from 8 until 1, but we close at 1, and we're pretty strict about kicking people out at 1 o'clock because we want to go home and have a barbecue and plant a little bit in our garden just like everybody else. So we'll be open for 5 hours. And that's like our treat to the valley, because we'd like a day off too. But we'll be open for 5 hours, and then we're closing at 1, and then we're off. This weekend we've got some really great deals going on, and there was an ad that went out in the mail. So we've got a big flyer that went out. If you don't have a copy of the flyer, we've got it on our website. We posted it on social media. We've got copies at the store, and it's got some really good deals in there. But for today, we're doing a special deal. And we've got our jumbo pack strawberries that are usually $9.99, and we're doing them on sale for $3.50.
Oh, wow.
So for the jumbo strawberries, $3.50. I think we've got them in the ad for $4, but we're going to do them for $3.50 this weekend if you mention you heard it on the radio. So mention you heard it on the radio, $3.50 for a jumbo pack of a jumbo 6-pack. Strawberries. Yeah. So the jumbo 6-pack of strawberries, usually $9.99, on sale for $3.50. So really, really great deal. And then we've got like soaker hoses on sale. We've got gallon tomatoes on sale, watering cans on sale. Our garden hats are on sale, asparagus, herbs, 4-inch wave petunias, geraniums. All of our Ames tools are on sale as well, too. So we've got some really great deals going on there. And then it's also my $5 off sale. So there's a bunch of fertilizers, like our hanging basket package. Those fertilizers are $5 off each. The Humix, $5 off per bag. Bug blasters, $5 off. Weed-free zones, $5 off. Back to green, Hydrotain. Got some really great deals. So my $5 off sale is kind of fun to do for the Memorial Day. So we got a bunch of products that are all just an extra $5 off the regular price.
Okay.
So not too bad. Not too bad.
Shortened hours on Monday.
Correct.
Open all day today.
All day today. Well, not all day, but from
regular hours
9
today.
until 6 today.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably just keel over dead at like 6 o'clock today. So
earlier you can get in today, the better, because it is so busy by the afternoon.
That's probably wise. So come in. Compost Tea's brewing. So we've got all of our brewers going. So we've got 3 brewers. So if you want to come in and get Compost Tea, it is rolling this weekend. And it's not just Compost Tea, it's Compost Tea Plus. So we've got an added ingredient this year to make it even better than it has been in the past. So Compost Tea is brewing daily, 24/7. We've got it going pretty much all the time. So not too bad. Monday, hours. 8 until 1. Mondays, yeah. If you want to come in Mondays, 8 till 1. Well, not Monday, just this coming Monday. So, yeah. 8 to 1.
All right. And the phone lines are open if you've got a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden here on the Garden Guide. 435-753-KVNU. That's 435-753-5868. We can take your calls, your comments, if you're wanting to know what can go in right now, pretty much everything.
Yes.
Also, if you're wanting to know how to treat that garden before you put the seeds in, tips on how to be able to prep your soil. We can get into a lot of that this morning. And we have a special guest.
We do have a special guest today. So we've got Arthur Taylor with Sunstruck Gardens here. Arthur, thanks for coming.
Oh, great to be here. I feel like I've heard just a plethora of good deals.
Oh, some really good deals. Yeah, some really good deals. And we've got some of your amazing products that we're selling as well, too. So we've got the handy cages and the big handies, and we've got the sun cages.
And the Wonder
Walls. I have the Wonder Walls over my peas, and the deer still ate them through the Wonder Walls, darn it. So I'm going to throw a little netting on them this weekend. So
you need to do that. And I like to say that the Wonder Wall is an elegant expression of love for the peas and beans.
For the plants, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I start the season, and I've got the Wonder Walls, and they're what, 44 inches tall? Or are they 48?
Yeah, 44.
Okay, 44. So I put those on my peas, and then my peas will grow up those, and they'll just trellis, and then they get taller, and so I don't have to crawl around on my hands and knees to pick the peas because they're up a little bit taller, and then they're supported by the Wonder Walls. And then once the peas are all done, then I'll take the Wonder Walls off the peas and get rid of the peas and till those into the garden, and then I put them on my cucumbers. And then my cucumbers crawl up all the way up to the top, and then they spread out as well, too. And then I've got cucumbers dangling from my Wonder Walls, and
easy to pick.
Oh, they're awesome. Yeah, and then you get longer cucumbers that way, and they're straighter. And I think
the bug damage.
Yeah, I think out of all your new products, the Wonderwall's my favorite. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
thanks.
Yeah,
thanks.
It's awesome. Looks like we've got a caller.
We do.
Yeah.
We have Marilyn joining us on the line. Let's go out to the phones. Marilyn, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. Well, I have a question about we have quaking aspen. We live at a high enough altitude that they thrive, except that the deer have been very difficult in terms of tearing off their bark.
Yes.
Mm.
And we put the black stain on the bark to try to keep them off. And I think we probably are killing them with kindness. Maybe we've just got some real challenges on these trees this year.
Yeah.
I wondered if I hose the bark, if that would help these trees. Because when we look up on the side where we've had to protect the most, we look up in the tree and we can start to see that some of those branches are dying.
Mm.
And
so
we have replaced trees so many times here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And once they got big, I thought, well, we're good now.
They'll be good, yeah. But then they come and rub their antlers on them and just take the bark off. So, yeah, we deal with the same thing. So it's like, honestly, we've replaced thousands of dollars worth of trees at my house because the deer just live there. Every day I've got a herd of deer in our backyard. So we've gotten to the point where I'm going to plant like 12 new fruit trees here in the next couple of weeks. So I've just been kind of babying them along, get them to leaf out. They look really good. I've got them in 10-gallon pots, and I'm going to transplant those here in the next couple of weeks. And what I'll do to protect them from the deer is you can wrap them with the tree wrap to kind of protect the bark, but the deer will eat those young, tender fruit trees because the new growth is really tasty. So they'll just prune them like crazy. So I end up putting rings of field fencing around them. So 4-foot field fencing. And we'll put that just around the trees, and I'll do like a 3-foot wide circle, and so it's got like a 3-foot diameter circle, and I'll just cut the field fence so that it just puts this nice little circle around the trees, and then the deer don't like to stick their noses through the field fencing, and they'll basically leave the trees alone, and then they can't damage the bark on the trees as well too, and so I'll leave those on until the trees are bigger and mature, but we'll still protect the bark in the fall when they're rubbing the silks off their horns because they'll damage even larger mature trees.
May I suggest? May I make a suggestion?
Oh yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Arthur.
I would put cherry towers around them.
Yeah, with the little ones.
Which is what you have those.
Yes,
I believe
we
stock
do.
those, and they're 64 inches tall, and they I think they make a 12-inch grid
all the way around the tree. Yeah,
and then that's what I use.
Yeah.
And of course,
and you do have an orchard. As well.
We have 100. We have 100 trees.
Yeah, and you have deer also.
We have a lot of deer. We have 20. We have a herd of 26 that live at our house.
I think North Logan is a good place for all the deer to go. Like we should just like transport them all to your place. Yeah, that'd be
my
perfect.
dog Sadie kind of got into with one.
Yeah,
and that didn't work out well.
So I feel your pain, Marilyn.
Oh well,
cherry towers.
Yeah.
But these are full-grown trees.
So they're bigger. Yeah, so they're bigger.
Yeah, and just every year we've had to put that on, and I think that maybe I've wondered if trying to rinse it off a little bit, if what I can do to save the trees. There's one that's a very pale color. I think the whole tree is going to die.
The pruning sealer won't damage the tree at all. So the black stuff that you're spraying on there to protect the tree, that's mostly to protect wounds where there's been damage done, but it won't hurt the tree at all. And so even if it's still on there a year or two later, it's not going to damage the tree. Where the deer have barked the tree, it disrupts the sap flow and damages the circulatory system of the tree. So you will have a branch here or a branch there that will die back from that kind of damage. So prune those out. And prune the tree a little bit more aggressively than you would so that it can compensate for the loss of water and nutrient that's moving up through the tree. And then usually we'll put that pruning sealer on the wound and then wrap it with the tree wrap. And then every 6 months, I'll take the wrap off. I'll retreat the wound with the pruning sealer, and then I put the wrap back on. And in most cases, it takes about 2 to 3 years for the tree to heal over and to protect that wound. It'll create new bark. It will cover that wound back up, but it does take some time. And so every 6 months, I take the wrap off, retreat it, wrap it back up, and give it enough time to heal, and that should help. But prune, and then some fertilizer, root drench to get the roots as healthy as possible.
I'm coming in today for another big container of it, and good. I put it in yesterday, and I put. I'm just going to keep coming and doing it.
Yep. It does make a difference.
Just keep them. Just that's one thing I'm quite certain is going to help them.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You so much, and hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day.
Oh, you too, Marilyn. Thank you so much for calling.
You.
Yep. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Right, bye bye. Okay.
That frees up a line at 435-753-5868, 753-KVNU. Now, Carson's joining us on the line from Newton. Carson, thanks for holding. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Hey, thanks, guys. So I put down some black landscape fabric and planted some squash. And I'm wondering, since squash vines put out additional roots, can I ignore those roots, or should I be doing something to help those get back down to the dirt through the fabric?
What kind of squash?
Banana and sweet meat.
The banana and sweet meat. Those are pretty big, aggressive plants. They will get enough nutrition through the main root system that you don't have to worry about rooting those vines out. You can absolutely let them vine and root as well too, but they should be able to pick up enough nutrition to produce plenty of squash without too much trouble. I kind of like doing the squash on the weed barrier because it keeps the weeds down, and then the squash, when they form, they're sitting on the weed barrier and they tend to not rot on the bottom as much as well too. So it's really good for cantaloupes and watermelons, but it's also good for your winter squash as well too.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Hey, good luck with your garden, Carson.
Thanks. Take care.
Yep. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Phone lines open, 435-753-5868. It's 435-753-KVNU. If you have a question, comment for Mark Anderson Seed and Garden. And, we were talking about a lot of people getting their gardens in, especially after we had some frost.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday.
Week.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday. Did you have frost at your place, Arthur?
I didn't really see it.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to have some problems, but we didn't.
Yeah, I had frost on my grass, and my kids were scraping it off of their vehicles.
Off the windshields, yeah.
Yeah,
Heard that about 7 o'clock in the morning.
But good news was it didn't seem to be low enough. At least there were some areas, especially up around Montpelier, and where you are.
Got really cold.
Yeah, very cold. Up around the summit of Logan Canyon was down into the 20s.
I noticed a little damage on some of my potatoes.
Saw a little bit.
Didn't bother my carrots. Obviously, didn't bother the peas at all. But a little bit of frost damage on my potatoes.
Yeah.
Noticed it night before last. Yeah. So very possible.
So maybe you may want to double check. May have to replant a little bit if you had some tender green bean plants or some others coming up. Maybe needing to drop some new seeds in.
Plant a little bit more. Yeah, plant a little bit more. But my peas are already starting to climb up my wonder walls. So they're already climbing, except for where the deer ate them. And that was not.
You seem to not like the deer.
I don't like the deer at my house, especially when my fence is down. So we got to get that fence in. I called my contractor. I sent him pictures, and I said, "Dude,
gotta have
we got to build the wall."
That's all I said. And then I sent pictures of the peas that had been mowed down to the ground. So it's like, that's the way it goes.
Now, Arthur, for those who are unfamiliar with how you started in building Wonder Walls and everything else, can you kind of give us a little bit of background of your story?
I think it was 2004 that I came in. Well,
I think so.
We were trying to come up with a trellis that we could put into a square planter, because I developed this planter. Mark's always been my first customer on everything,
and I still have your planters.
Yeah.
They're like 20 years old.
Yeah.
The cedar is starting to fall apart, but it's like it's time for some new planks, man.
Anyway, and I had to come up with a square trellis, and we did that, and because in my shop, and we built one, and then I thought, what if we build another one? And then we put it together, and then the handy cage was born.
Yeah.
And then I immediately spray painted those green and took them down to Mark. And he said, "Yeah, I'll take." I forget how many he said you'd take, but so I went out and I spent about $30,000 on wire forming equipment for my $500 order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't that what you always do?
That's what I do. I've done that many times, and it's worked out. And So it's been a fun ride, and it's been a fun collaboration.
I still have those first handy cages that you made.
Yes,
like I still use them. Like the wire on the bottom is kind of like bent from like shoving them into the ground multiple times, but the powder coat is still good. Yep. The cages, the welds have never broken. I mean, those suckers are 20 years old, and they go.
Isn't it great?
They go in my barn for storage for the winter.
They stack up,
and they stack up all nice. And then I bring them back out, and I'm planting my tomatoes this weekend, and they're gonna get the handy cages like almost immediately. And so I'll slap those on there. Last year, my cherry tomatoes, I put the big handies on them. Yeah. And the big handies, how tall are the big handies? They're
64.
They're 64.
64 inches.
So I put them on the big handies, and my cherry tomatoes, my sun sugar, my sweet baby girl, and my black cherry, they all went to the top of the cages and then curled over and then went back down to the ground. And so but they still held them.
Yeah.
They still held them.
Mark,
so
Mark,
it's like
Mark,
it doesn't get any better.
Can we talk? I need you to put some cherry towers on those.
Yeah.
Tames the wild cherry.
Yeah.
They're really strong.
I just like the handies because my plants are big already when I finally put the cages on them, and so it's nice to have the two pieces and go, in around them, so then it doesn't break all the branches off as I'm putting the cage on them.
That's the beauty of the handy cage.
It is
easy
easy transport. Sure is. So we got another phone call.
We do. Mike is joining us on the line from Logan. Let's go out to the phones. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hey, Mark. Quick question on soil amending and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do have some of the Bigfoot. I bought some of the new trees from you. I got the Bigfoot. I also do the compost tea. Is there redundancy there? If I was to do the Bigfoot with the compost, or would it be better to stagger that out and do Bigfoot or the tea instead of both together, or am I going to give a super punch if I do them together or anything like that?
My answer is yes and yes. So go for it. So when I do my first application, I'll actually mix a little bit of the compost tea in with the Bigfoot, because the Bigfoot just kind of augments it even more with like more goodies. And then I'll do the compost tea like every week or 10 days or so. And then if I want to hit them with the Bigfoot again. So the Bigfoot has like a stronger punch of microbes and microorganisms and mycorrhiza in there. Plus it has the biochar and the kelp meal and the humate in there. And so the combination of the two just kind of supercharges your compost tea to where it's going to be even more effective than it is by itself.
Okay. And then how does the tea, does that act as a fertilizer, or is it just it's too short-lived, and you'd still want to do a fertilizer?
There's a tiny bit of fertilizer in with the compost tea, so just a little bit. But what it does is the microbes and the microorganisms that are in there, they pre-digest the nutrient that is currently in your soil and free it up and make it available to your plants. So it acts like a fertilizer, even though it's not really high in nutrition, but it releases the nutrient that's naturally in your soil. So it's really, really good to use with like an organic based fertilizer, because organic based fertilizers take a longer time for it to release the nutrient, but the microbes in the compost tea, they free it up faster, like really faster, like a lot faster. And so it
really
will,
faster.
Yeah, really faster. Sorry, I was like, my mind was going while my mouth was not. So it will speed up the release of that nutrient since they're pre-digesting it for the plants. So I use it in conjunction with some slow release fertilizers, and it just makes it last all summer long. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
All right.
Thank you for your help. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Hey, good luck with your planting, Mike.
Okay, you too, and happy Memorial Day.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
You didn't like my really faster?
I think it's like really gooder.
Really faster.
It's really gooder and really.
We never make vocab mistakes here. On,
These are
on the
scientific
gardening
terms.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to worry about it.
Well, we've got plenty of time to take more of your calls coming up in the second half of the show. 435-753-KVNU or 435-753-5868, as we can talk more planting and more talking about Arthur and his handy cages. So that'll all be coming up next.
I
Here's
can
the
go
garden
on for hours.
And we've got plenty more to talk about. And stay right here. You're listening to The Garden Guide here on KVNU. 30 minutes after the hour, and with your KVNU News headlines, I'm Will Feelright. Well, the number of Utah educator misconduct reports has been climbing for years, with investigators receiving 93 complaints in the first half of 2025. Now, Ben Rasmussen runs the Utah Professional Practices Advisory Commission, which investigates educator misconduct reports. When he started in 2015, the commission investigated about 63 complaints annually, while in 2020 there were 72 misconduct reports, and last year there were 173. Now, boundary violations, violence and discipline, and sexual allegations are the main types of cases they see. Rasmussen said they don't do a lot of anonymous allegations because they need to independently verify the allegations and would need a witness to prove what happened to take any licensing action. Now, the usual outcome of these cases includes suspension, reprimand, or a letter of warning, with only about 10% of the cases where no action is taken. And a Utah man who denied killing his girlfriend before being caught on a jail phone call, admitting that he had shot her, was sentenced on Friday to life in prison without the chance of parole. Terrence Trent Voss was convicted on Thursday of one count of first-degree felony murder in the 2021 death of Shandon Scott. Now, in the early morning hours of May 1st, 2021, police arrived at a crash along Interstate 80 between State Street and 700 East, found the lifeless Scott in the passenger seat of Voss's vehicle with multiple gunshot wounds. Now, according to a person who witnessed the I-80 crash and stopped at the scene, Voss had attempted to steal the witness's vehicle before he was stopped. When police arrived, Voss ran from the scene before he was quickly taken into custody. Well, a few clouds, but warm temperatures as we're going to stay in the mid-70s for the next several days. Overnight temperatures staying right around the mid-40s with a chance still of some isolated thunderstorms as we head towards next week. Will Feelright, KVNU News.
Knicks and Pacers, 2 days removed from a riveting Indiana comeback, playing Game 2 at the Garden. The game largely played within single-digit margins. Tyrese Halliburton struggled shooting, but finished 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double. You could argue he turned the lights out.
Halliburton for 3 up top. Good. Mercy. All by himself. No one else touched it on that trip.
And he did to Jalen Brunson what Jalen Brunson does to so many defenders. Just squared him up, knocked down the 3 right in front of his face.
Sean Kelly on ESPN Radio put the Pacers up 7 late in the fourth. Pascal Siakam, a career playoff high 39 points. Jalen Brunson missed a game-tying three-pointer in the last 10 seconds for the Knicks. Pacers go home leading 2-0 after a 114-109 win in the Eastern Conference Final. On the ice, the Oilers and Stars contesting Game 2 in the NHL's Western Final.
To the high slot. That was a 3-on-2 for Edmonton. Nugent Hopkins shot tipped home. What a tip by Connor Brown. 3-0 Edmonton.
6:30 CHED. Stuart Skinner, 25 save shutout. Edmonton steals Game 2, 3-0 to head north of the border with a split ahead of Game 3 Sunday. In baseball, Ronald Acuna returned Friday from a torn ACL, nearly a year to the day since his last game. The 2023 MVP wasted no time.
And the first pitch to Acuna, he swings, he drives one, pushing way back. Is this real life? It's a home run by Acuna. 1-0 Braves. Holy smokes! His first swing in a year. And he parked it into the bleachers out in left center. Unbelievable.
680 The Fan in Atlanta. They failed to win the game, though. Padres beat the Braves 2-1.
The tent is up and the deals are on at Al's Sporting Goods Outdoor Expo. Anderson AR-15 rifle only $349.99. 9mm Blazer Brass $11.99. 65% off Vortex Viper spotting scopes $379.99. Woods 3-person tents $39.99. Quick Shade 10x10 canopies only $69.99. And thousands of carved sunglasses $7.99. Don't miss the biggest outdoor deals of the year only at Al's Sporting Goods Outdoor Expo sale. Al's Sporting Goods in Logan and online at als.com. Every sport, every season.
Napa Auto Parts just took in 2 truckloads of oil. These are Napa's 2 best-selling diesel oils, and they're on sale for the lowest price of the year. Chevron Delo 15W40, $15.99 a gallon. Napa Premium 15W40, $12.99 a gallon. You won't beat these prices anywhere. I mean it, anywhere. There's no limit to how much you can buy, but the sale's over when the oil's gone. Cash or credit card only. No delivery must be purchased and paid for in store. Price is good at any of the 5 locally owned Preston to Providence Napa Auto Parts.
Napa! The Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM at 102.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Garden Guide. 53 degrees right now outside the KVNU studios. We'll feel right along with Mark Anderson and Arthur with Handy Cages. We've been talking about cherry tomato cages, well, all things. When it comes to really...
We
tomatoes.
Support anything that grows.
Yeah. Really, it's more for, you could do handy cages with a lot of different plants, but tomatoes primarily.
Yeah. We've done the handy cages for like a trellis for like the cucumbers, and we've used it to protect plants as well too.
Yes.
So I was thinking this week, if it was going to get really cold, I was going to like put them down over some of my plants and then put the frost cloth on them. And
you know, I have this concept called No Kitty, and you can put it over your rows. And I bend it over a little bit more. It's got more of an angle to it, so it's like a 60 degree instead of a 90 or a point. And then I've got another rod that goes through, so the cat can't reach through and dig in the row.
Nice.
I ought to see what you guys think about selling those. I've got them for myself, and I really like them. In fact,
no kitty.
I kind of think they're my best idea. No kitty.
Yeah, we need one for no deer.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on it. Okay. Marilyn's got me thinking.
There, yeah, for sure.
I told these guys earlier if somebody would have talked to me 5 minutes after she left the air, I would have said, "Huh, what?" Because
your mind was rolling.
I've got an idea.
Some ideas.
I've got an idea.
Okay,
maybe next spring.
We'll have a new concept project to work on for the summer.
Yeah,
and the winter.
I think they should be elegant, and I think they should be black.
Yeah, and they should keep deer away.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. Yeah, very, very helpful. So at the top of the hour, we talked about our hours on the holiday on Monday.
Coming up for Memorial Day.
Remind everybody. So we are open on Monday, but we're only open from 8 until 1 for Memorial Day, because we want to have a little barbecue and go to the cemetery and play a little bit in the yard as well too. So we're going to be open from 8 until 1 on Monday. We've got some great sales going on. So we've got wave petunias on sale and geraniums on sale. They're half price. We've got herbs that are on sale for $4. We've got asparagus roots that are on sale, garden hats, watering cans, tools, soaker hoses, all kinds of different things that are on sale right now. And then also my $5 off sale for like a bunch of different fertilizers. So the Green Maker from Fertilome, the Bug Blaster Plus, the Humic, the Weed Free Zone, they're all $5 off for all the different sizes. Hydrotane's on sale. Hey, I put Hydrotane on my lawn right before that last storm.
Oh, nice.
And I was looking at it this morning. I was like, dang, it looks like we put fertilizer out there. It's like the grass is so green and it's so even and nice and pretty. And Hydrotane will just like last for the next 90 days and keep the lawn looking really good as it absorbs and holds the moisture. So great time to put your Hydrotane on. So we've got the liquid hose end applicators, $5 off, and then the 15-pound bags are $5 off as well too.
Yeah.
And then we're doing a special this weekend. The jumbo pack, 6-pack strawberries, the jumbos, they are $3.50 instead of $9.99. So really good deal on the jumbo pack strawberries. So if you come in the store, make sure and mention that you heard that on the radio, and you can get the jumbo 6-pack strawberries for $3.50. So really good deal on those right now. And like we mentioned, we'll be open from 8 until 1 on Monday. Are you open on Monday, Arthur?
No, we're going to be, but we will be working. We'll be working our guts out. We're
in your yard.
We're going to transplant 8 of the trees that we bought from you this weekend. Yeah, and we have the Bigfoot.
Right.
Explain how we use that in a tree situation.
So when you're planting, you want to take the Bigfoot, and that comes in a granule. And it comes in concentrate, so you can mix it up in water.
I think we have the granule.
Yeah, so with the granule, when you dig your holes, you want to put just a little sprinkle down in the bottom of the hole, so it'll come in contact with the roots when the roots take off. But then as you get ready to plant, you want the granules kind of around the outside of the root ball. And so just kind of as you take it out of the pot, hold it over the hole and just kind of sprinkle it on the root ball before you put it in the ground. And then backfill with your nice soil. Usually we'll say take the soil out of the hole, put it in a wheelbarrow, add 25 to 30% of a nice transplanting mix, work that into the soil. And then when you backfill it, you can kind of make your little berm around the outside to hold the water so your water doesn't run away when you're watering it. And then I'll take a 5-gallon bucket and I'll mix up the Bigfoot concentrate in the bucket and then water the tree with it, and then it makes contact with all the root system that way. And the mycorrhiza will colonize the root system very quickly that way.
How often do you do the Bigfoot? Do you just do that one time?
I do it when I plant, and then I'll do it again about a week or 2 weeks after the first one, and then it completely colonizes the root system of the plants with the mycorrhiza, and the mycorrhiza go out in search of water and nutrient, bring it to its host, and they're more effective and more efficient at moving water and nutrient to the plant than the plant is itself. And so it brings all that water and nutrient to it. So it's time to spray your trees too. I was just thinking about apples and pears. We got to spray this weekend. This is like Target week. Yeah, this is the Target week. So got another phone call?
We do. Yeah. We have Gordon joining us on the line. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good to talk to you.
Yes, good morning, Gordon.
Hey, Mark, I had your folks come and do a broadleaf spray. Actually, I was really surprised. We thought it was going to be next week, and they came yesterday. Luckily, there was somebody here to show them what to do.
Yes.
And so when we got home yesterday from graduation down in Provo, the dandelions were looking very unhappy already.
That's
the stems were curled up.
That's the way we like it.
Graduation in Provo.
Exactly. It was a beautiful sight, and but I had never heard of that. When they got done, they said to water well afterwards. Let it sit for 3 hours or so, and then water. I was curious what happens in that process.
Well, the herbicide that we use and the surfactant that we mix in with it is rain fast after about 15 to 30 minutes. And so it will start to work.
It stays there.
Yeah,
okay.
so it works really quickly. Usually we recommend about 12 to 24 hours, but if you do it sooner, that's fine. It doesn't take very long. We've actually had people call and say, hey, your guys just sprayed, and then these big black clouds are rolling over the mountains. It's going to rain here any second. Is it going to be okay? And we're like, don't worry. Don't worry. Just if it doesn't work, within 48 hours, just give us a call. We'll come spray it again. And then they never call back, because the nano boost that we put in there just makes it react so quickly. It's very, very quick, and it will kill some of the hardest to kill weeds that are out there. But normally we'll recommend like 12 to 24 hours between the application and the next application of water. That gives it more time to react and do its thing. But the herbicide that we use is very, very effective. You'll see within sometimes 4 to 6 hours, you'll see stuff curling up, especially on a nice 75-degree day.
By the time we got home.
Yeah.
By the time we got home, they were looking sad. So, and it had a good 6-7 hours by the time we got back.
Perfect.
Before we putting on.
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay,
so you do want to water, but it does. I was given the impression that it was supposed to happen after about 4 hours.
A little quicker. Yeah. What the weeds die better if they're healthy. If they are stressed, then they kind of close shop up. They kind of close down. And so then they're not absorbing in the herbicide through the foliage, and they're not moving it through the plant. Like their systems kind of start to shut down, like they're hibernating if they're stressful conditions. And so if the weeds are well watered and healthy and have plenty of nutrient, then they're going to absorb and utilize the herbicide a lot better. It'll be more effective for you.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that seems kind of odd, but all right, great. Well, it seems to be working. And
that's the way we like it.
Site.
That's super, Gordon.
We're hoping the morning glory goes along with them. So.
Yep, it will. It will.
Right.
Yeah, it'll do a good job.
All right. Good to talk to you. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon.
All right.
Phone lines open at 435-753-5868. That's 435-753-KVNU. If you have a question, comment for Mark, as we also have Arthur Taylor from Sunstruck Gardens joining us in the studio here for the Garden Guide. And you mentioned how this has kind of been a hobby of yours, Arthur, that it's not necessarily your day job. But I guess it's probably quickly turning into kind of a day job for you, because this is something that started back, is now coming up on 20 years?
Yeah, we've been, it's 20 years.
Yeah.
I'll be dead soon. No, it's actually been quite a bit of fun. And it's been fun to see there's a lot of people who have our product and are very happy with it. And when somebody tells me, I've had your cages for 20 years or 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
That makes me happy, because quality, good materials, strong materials. That's what I overbuild everything. It's a problem.
That's the way we want it, though. We want it to last. So like I was saying, I've got sun cages that are even older than my handy cages that I'm still using, and those handies just last and last and last for us. So like we've discussed this before in the past, I've never had anybody bring a handy cage back that was defective.
And please don't start now.
We've never had anybody bring one back and say, "Oh, the weld's all popped on it; it's no good." So,
well, we don't resistance weld. Yeah. Everything is wire welded.
Yeah.
And so there's a filler metal in there, and that just tends to work better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Well, let's we'll come back, talk more about the handy cages in just a minute. But Marilyn is joining us on the line. Marilyn overheard us talking about spraying our apple trees. And Marilyn, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Good morning.
Now you were mentioning
you had apple trees. Never done it.
Okay.
So what do I spray them with?
So the worms that get into the apples, the adults are codling moth. And so this is a codling moth larva that gets into the apples. And USU Extension puts traps all over the state, and they monitor when the adults are flying and laying their eggs. And they give us a target time for like spraying throughout the summertime. So the very first target date is this week. So starting today for the next week is really when you want to get your first application on there to control the codling moth larva before they get into the apples and do damage to the apples. And so if you don't like worms in your apples, not my favorite source of protein. Yeah, not my favorite protein source. Now is the time to spray. And then they will post the next application, which usually hits around the first or second week of July. And then there'll be a third flight that will hit sometime in August. And we'll post that at the store. We'll put it on our social media. We'll talk about it on the radio. I mean, we'll try and get that information out as much as possible. But right now, in the next 7 days or so, is really your target time to get your first application combination. And you have multiple options. And so there's some really great organic options. If you really want to stick organic, you can do the fruit tree spray from Fertilome, or you can do spinosad. And those are very effective on codling moth and the codling moth larva, and they're safe to use like right up to the minute you harvest your fruit and eat it. Of course, they're not ready to eat yet, but it's a very, very low toxicity for people. In fact, pretty much zero toxicity for people, but very effective on the insects. You just have to use it a little bit more frequently. They really only last about 10 to 14 days, where some of the synthetic options, like if you use let's see, Seven's really good. If you use the Sayonara, that's really good as well too. Or the Bonide Fruit Tree and Plant Guard. Those will all last 18 to 21 days. So you only have to spray every 3 weeks instead of every 10 to 12 or 14 days. So you don't have to spray as often. So in many cases, I can get away with 3 or 4 sprays for the entire summer, where if you go with the fruit tree spray from Fertilome or the spinosad, you're spraying like 6 or 7 or sometimes even 8 times. So it saves a lot of time and effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just real quick, too, I'm trying to get ahead of these critters this year.
Yes.
How do I keep earwigs out of the apricots?
Earwigs have to crawl up the trunk. And so if you do an insecticide on the ground around the tree, and then you can like spray the trunks, as the earwigs crawl up, it'll kill them before they get to the apricots. Yeah, so just spray the trunks with the insecticide. And usually if the earwigs are really getting after the apricots, it's a little bit of an indication that you've got other insects there. So kind of watch for aphids and thrips, because the earwigs are predators. They'll go after the other insects. They'll eat those, and then they'll go, ooh, apricots, delicious. You know, and so so if we can control the other insects, then the earwigs won't be as much of a problem. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I just thought that was after the sweet apricots.
Yeah. I think it's kind of secondary, where they're like, oh, aphids, delicious. Oh, and apricots. That sounds good too. Yeah, it's a nice combination.
While we're here.
Exactly. They're kind of like taking advantage of the situation. I mean, they're not really going after the apricots. It's just like, oh, okay, great. You know, here's another opportunity. So
it's like a surprise dessert.
Opportunistic is what I would call them. Yeah, they're very opportunistic. So, and that's the way ants are too. Everybody freaks out when they see ants at their plants. It's like, well, the ants aren't really going after the plants. They're going after the other stuff that's on the plants. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, thank you, Marilyn.
Have a great Memorial Day.
You
Thank
too.
You.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Jim joined us on the line. Thanks for holding, Jim. Go ahead. You're up next here on the Garden Guide.
Hi, Mark. I have a question. I've got a Jonathan apple tree, and every year it's loaded. Beautiful apples. I have an arborist that prunes it for me every year.
Great.
And I usually get just a bumper crop. This year I've got maybe 6 blossoms, and that's it. Did something happen over the winter that affected production on an apple?
Possible. It could be possible. And we had not really, really cold temperatures in the wintertime. I mean, it never really got that much below zero, if ever. But we did have lots of roller coaster temperatures. And when that happens, you get like the buds start to swell early, and you can get some damage when things are just like moving a little too fast. So like we had some great weather in January, and then it got really, really cold in February. And if your tree kind of started to bud a little bit, it could have damaged some of the blossoms for sure. Did you notice any of that with your orchard, Arthur?
What I notice is that we have 4 or 5 varieties.
Yeah.
And it's cyclical.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll have empires like crazy.
Yeah.
Macintosh like crazy. And then our Golden Delicious, we don't have any.
Yeah.
And then other times, it seems cyclical to the species.
Yeah. So, but it's not like every other year. It's like you'll have multiple years and they'll produce like crazy, and then you just got like 1 year where it's like, okay, they didn't do.
I think they're kind of like, it's just I'm taking a Sunday off.
Yeah. Jim, usually the best thing that I can recommend to a lot of people is make sure you fertilize your trees every year, because they do pick up a lot of nutrient every single year and a lot of micronutrients, and over time they'll deplete that. And so keep that nutrient out there for them once a year. I only fertilize my trees like once a year with a slow release fertilizer, but they seem to produce more consistently and better fruit because they've got the micronutrients and the minerals and the major nutrients available to them. And then they don't go into an every other year cycle that way. But I think, Arthur's got, how many trees? You got like 100 and...
We've got 80. We'll have 86.
86. Okay. So almost 100 trees.
Yeah.
And they kind of go through cycles a little bit as well too, but could be a little bit of winter damage.
It also depends the blossoms, because the blossoms are different and sometimes they get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more.
Well, this is an heirloom tree. It's probably, 40, 50 years old.
Those are the good ones. Yeah, those are the good ones.
Yeah, they're delicious apples. I mean, Jonathan's.
Love Jonathan's, yeah.
They're wonderful.
Yeah, great apple. So probably this year, if they're going to produce a little bit, if they had some blossoms, you're going to have some fruit, but not as heavy. But your fruit will be really nice quality and it'll be big.
Maybe even double up on the fertilizer this year.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that watching the blossoms, and I swear there's probably only a half dozen blossoms on the tree, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it'll save me getting out and spraying this week. I won't have to.
Keep an eye on it and see, because sometimes the blossoms sneak out and you don't really realize you got distracted and didn't notice. Because I didn't think there was that many blossoms on my nectarine tree in my orchard. I was just like, it's not going to have very many on there. And then I went out last night and it's like, oh my gosh, there's like fruit all over the place. I had to thin a whole bunch off of it because it had way more fruit on it than it needed. So I was kind of surprised.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Okay. Super.
All right. Thank you.
Good luck, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Jim. And Deanna is joining us on the line. Deanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I have got a question.
Fire away.
Okay.
On horsetail. We have got horsetail at our place. That's the worst problem we have on our 2 acres. Anyway, it's making its way to the center of our yard. So I want to know exactly how to get rid of horsetail, and I want to understand how it multiplies by spores rather than seeds.
And seeds, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the seeds are kind of like spores. They're just super tiny. So like mushrooms have spores, but they act like seeds, and it's just the composition of the spores. But the horsetail rush is really difficult to control. You are right on. And we've found over the years that the horsetail rush has a waxy outer coating on it. And so it's hard to get the herbicide to penetrate into the plant. You can spray it with Roundup and it will just like run off of it. And it never gets into the plant, so it doesn't kill it very well. And so what we have found is you got to use the right surfactant to get it to adhere to the horsetail rush. And so the best combination that we have used over the years is a product that is called Spurge Power. And the Spurge Power has 3 different herbicides in it. So it has a tri-killing effect. So there's 3 different herbicides that all work in different modes of action. And so it's very effective on the horsetail rush, since it looks like a grass, but it's not in the grass family. So it's not affected by grass killers. You got to use a broadleaf herbicide on it. So the Spurge Power is great for like morning glory and thistles and mallow and clover.
Good.
Yeah, but it won't hurt grass. And so you can use it right in your turf and it won't hurt your turf at all, but it will kill flowers and vegetables and fruit trees. And, so you got to be really careful with it around your desirable plants. But then we mix a product in with it that is called Nano Boost. Nano Boost is a surfactant, but it's got nanotechnology in it. It makes the molecules of the herbicide penetrate into the target really, really quickly, and it makes it very, very effective. And so personally, we've found amazing results on hard to kill weeds with it. My brother had the same problem. He lives in Nibley, and he had like horsetail rush all over the place. He tried for like 10 years to get rid of it. And I finally said, okay, Nano Boost and Spurge Power. And it took about a month, but he came back and he's like, oh my gosh, I got rid of all of it. It's like, this is like unreal. Yeah. So Nano Boost with Spurge Power 2 applications about 10 days apart, and it will destroy almost all of it.
That is awesomely wonderful, and I'll have you know we're sitting in your parking lot right now with the other cars just
Wonderful.
waiting for you.
Yep. Ready. They'll be ready to open any second. So that's
About
good.
2 minutes away.
I know it's great when the employees open the doors when I'm not there. It's like the best part.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Mark.
ask for the Nano Boost, and not everybody's going to know where it's at, but it's like right there on the herbicide shelf, very close to the Spurge Power. And the Nano Boost, it's crazy. It's in a 32-ounce bottle. It will make 800 gallons. So it goes a long way. So don't be afraid of the price and the size because it will last you the rest of your life.
You can spray your neighbor's yard.
You can spray to your heart's content with it. But it is amazing stuff. You'll love it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me your brother's example.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Stay hopeful.
Yep. Happy Memorial Day. Yep. Thank you.
And we just have a couple minutes, a couple seconds, Mark, actually.
Time's about up.
Jumbo strawberries, again, at a special discount.
$3.50 on the Jumbo strawberry 6-packs. We're open on Monday from 8 until 1. All kinds of great sales going on this weekend. And I even have handy cages and Wonder Walls in stock. So
wonderful.
They're so ready to go.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Arthur, it's been great to have you back in the studio with us. Join us again next week for the Garden Guide here on KVNU, and happy Memorial Day.
When it's happening in Washington, when it's happening on Wall Street.
That's the reason why we're going to continue, because I believe there is a call.